guys.
Guess it's time to talk about Rings of Power, episode 5. Regrettably.
Go for it, Mary. How do you feel about it?
I think this one I've liked or tolerated the least so far of all of them. It's been a steady decline since the premiere episodes.
It's getting to the point
that this was like a 3 out of 10.
It's getting to a point where it's like, can we get going already?
Yes. All they do in this show is verbally argue with each other, give each other displeased looks, and nothing actually moves the plot along. And silly me for thinking that any of the cast members we saw promoted before this show came out would interact on the show.
No, they're all.
It feels like I'm watching
groups.
like 7 different series that are completely unrelated. When are they even going to cross paths?
The biggest problem this show has is too many cast members spread out over too much territory and doing absolutely nothing with them because you can only give so much time to each group so that none of the story satisfactorily progresses. By the end of this episode, nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed.
Like, I thought at least some warfare was going to pop off in this episode, and they've just been pushing it off. The
only one that feels like there's any movement, or that even feels like there's a coherent idea as to what the hell they're supposed to be doing, is Arondir and Durin, which is like, it's about like the what is it? The material that they're mining underneath there, and it's about saving saving his the elves or whatever. That's literally the only storyline that feels like
I don't even understand
on.
What happened there, because they're like concerned with this mineral because it will saturate the elves in the light of the Valar. What the hell does that mean? Am I stupid? Yep. What does that mean?
Also, I want to point out that Bronwyn is
is hot.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
That if you're looking for somebody to give a rousing call to action, hire literally anyone but this actress.
She didn't even raise her voice. No one realistically would have heard her in a crowd of people when she's like, stand up, fight with me.
Fight with me. And then
Arondir is standing behind her.
Boring McBoringson is standing behind her.
Just kind of awkwardly looking like, around.
He looks like somebody who like wants to be on his phone, but since phones didn't exist, he can't be on his phone all the time.
Yeah.
And so there's actually some good lines from him between him and Theo. When he talks about, he says 50% of the people left, and then he says, well, that means 50% of the people stayed. That was actually hit me decently well.
The vibe, I was just, at that point, I was done with the episode, like, emotionally, and he was basically, trying to endear himself to Theo as his new stepdad.
And here's the problem. You should not be able to make it 5 episodes into a show that is this long and have only 3 or 4 characters have names you actually remember. I had to look up half the character names while I'm watching the scenes again because
I have subtitles on.
I was like, okay, so Pharazôn has a very unique point where he kind of tells some information to his nephew or son, his son, whoever it is, and he kind of comes off that he's going to go behind Muriel's back.
Muriel, who is his cousin, which we were supposed to know for some reason.
And the point is that I had to look up Pharazôn's name because none of these characters stand out at all.
Yeah.
We're in episode 5 now.
Do they say each other's names a lot?
Not
enough.
A lot. Not enough. Yeah.
I
think if we were to cut some characters from the main cast, we keep Durin, we keep Nori.
Yep.
We keep Galadriel because you have to.
You keep Arondir.
No, I don't like Arondir.
You have to keep him because he's inextricably connected to Durin. Ugh. But you can get rid of Disa, even though I like her. Like she's irrelevant at this point.
And why did she take a center stage in the promotion of this show?
Because
other than representation.
That's it. Nori is great. But they're not spending enough time with that character. She's got a great amount of this very, very endearing charisma that they could be taking full advantage of by featuring her character, and the entirety of the Brandyfoots and the Harfoots or whatever's that whole subplot would be much better served, more front and center.
Yeah.
Galadriel is a charisma vacuum that sucks the energy out of
I saw
literally
a little
every
bit of
single-
emotion in her face in this episode.
Was it
when
the
she
emotion
was with
of
Halbrand?
Yes. So the actor who plays Halbrand, who is really just discount Ryan Long. They
do look alike.
He looks like Ryan Long. Is the only one who seems to be pull any sort of emotion out of her. And I want to point to this picture as the sole reason you should not watch this show. She is the smuggest, most annoying character in the entire world.
They had explosions in this episode. I thought it would make up for you, Brett. It would make up the fact that Galadriel wins in a sword fight against 5 young men at once.
It was like I'm literally picturing the scriptwriter he just scratched out an entire paragraph of dialogue and just wrote "girl boss level 1000," and then put ... swords, and it's just so. Yeah,
at least one of them won and got that lieutenant promotion.
You can kind of see a little bit of emotion starting to show on her face.
They have a will they won't they, but all the emotion seems to be coming from Halbrand.
Yes, look at him. He's actually making a facial expression. She could be making the same facial expression here that she's making in all her scenes. And this was the other scene that I thought they did fine together. These two, Arondir and Theo, had a little bit of because they've had conflict before. But the point here is that, especially when you see Arondir and the people that are part of his, that whole group, they all feel like discount versions of better actors. That scene in particular, where they're talking about what's going to happen if they don't get help from Durin or whatever, it felt like cosplay.
This is cosplay. It's fan fiction.
The costumes,
made real with $500 million.
The costumes look cheap. The CGI in this one somehow didn't feel as good as it did in
the nighttime scenes that showed.
Here she is.
Elrond and who was the elf that
I don't even know
Elrond
his name.
was arguing with? Oh my gosh!
I don't even know his name.
About
He's
the mithril.
discount Tom Hiddleston.
Okay, whoever he is, whatever. Those nighttime scenes where he was arguing with that other elf. Those looked really good, in my opinion. And the nighttime scene of the explosion on the ship, I thought that looked cool. But then everything in Numenor is just a beige hellscape. Yeah. All of it is just beige, beige, beige. It looks so bad.
And I want to point out here's Bronwyn not being commanding
at all,
and it's literally what is the opposite of a call to action? It's
the
a text to
next
action.
scene of Bronwyn is her essentially giving up, flipping her position, all just to say that they should bow down to Sauron. After
Walker.
She's trying to galvanize these people to fight, the very next scene she decides that they should give up.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
And then here's the guy you were talking about, right?
Him. Who
chubby,
is he?
Chubby discount Tom Hiddleston. That's who he is.
The scene where they're talking with Durin and Durin asks how they acquired their dining table.
Yeah.
And he makes up this story about how this stone is very important in the Dwarven culture. It was so tense, and the emotion on this discount Tom Hiddleston's face was pure confusion. I did not understand what any of the conversation was supposed to mean, what was the significance of any of it. And then when you find out later that Durin was lying about the table, what was the point of that scene at all?
Didn't matter.
And also, the discount Tom Hiddleston didn't answer his question as to how they acquired it. He just said, take it home.
And it all feels like they start to exposition, and they say nothing without saying they say something.
Why do they speak in all euphemisms in this show and no matter-of-fact conversation?
It fits the tone of what that of the
I don't
fantasy
even think
genre.
so, because I remember in the books they speak more matter-of-factly than any of the conversations in this show.
And here are the two. Here's a perfect example on screen of two characters that you could cut.
Get rid of Isildur altogether. Get rid of Isildur and his annoying sister and this scrub who's trying to date his annoying sister. I don't even know their names. Who are these people and why should I care about their stories?
Just put Nori back on screen, damn it. Just put Nori back on screen and let them let the guy battle the what are they? The wolves.
The dorgs.
So
the wolves, the dorgs, and the balrogs. Which they barely brushed past.
It's Elendil.
The balrogs.
Captain Elendil, that's the character's name.
Oh, there's multiple Balrogs?
Yeah,
Well,
3 of them.
Why would the elves care whether the dwarves have dangerous mining practices? It's about the balrogs, but the balrogs weren't addressed in the previous episodes. So why were they even why is Elrond still sworn to secrecy to Durin?
Yeah.
When essentially he is admitting that the dwarves are in possession of the mithril by saying, I'm sworn to secrecy.
So he's like,
when he's outright asked about it 10 times.
It makes no sense
on screen. We know that they are in possession of the mithril.
But at the very least, I can say that when Arondir and Durin on screen together, I like their scenes, even if I don't think the show is very good. And I do believe.
You mean Elrond and Durin?
What did I say?
You keep saying Arondir.
I said Elrond. Yes.
Okay.
Well, that further
forgettable.
Proof, further
equally
proof
as emotionless.
Yeah.
I would
proof.
say that's why I said we should get rid of Arondir because this show seems to think that all elves just don't have emotion, like they're all Vulcan.
That's the thing. But even good Vulcan actors have blasting emotion through their eyes, like. The guy who played Elrond in the first one, the dude from The Matrix, what's that guy? You know the guy's name? Him and Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. They were just like about to snap the whole time. You see they're about to like flip the script. And even though the character has... doesn't mean the actor has no emotion, and the direction obviously is poor in this movie because they're not pulling the emotion out of the actors.
The guy who plays Arondir looks like he's constantly bored or
constipated or something.
Like it's in like I said, I saw a little bit of like stoic emotion out of him when he was talking to Theo.
Where is the chemistry between Arondir and Bronwyn?
It
simply does not exist.
Hire me. I will have all the chemistry with Bronwyn.
Yeah, you can play an elf.
I will be Arondir. If you need me, season 2, you can hire me. I will do it. Who the hell is Waldreg?
Well, you liked Waldreg in the previous episode. You said you liked his performance.
Which one is he? Oh, yeah.
When he had that short interaction with Theo at the end of episode 4.
He did the same thing. He had a similar one here, like when he was like speaking from the crowd, right? Like
he was like, "Come with us, Theo."
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna turn him into some big deal. Probably try.
He is like a devotee of Sauron, and then he comes across Adar, who is like the prince of the orcs, mistakes him for Sauron, and then Adar makes him do a blood sacrifice to show his loyalty to him.
And it's just like they could have cut this down. Like, dude, there's seasons. Half the group now, half these groups now, the other half in season 2. Like, if you want to make it a slow roll, make it a slow roll over 3 seasons, right? So instead of doing slow and poorly developed amongst all of them in one season, leading to a conflict, you have Arondir's story and Bronwyn's story in this season with Elrond and Durin, and then Nori. Actually, no, let's save Nori for season 2 because we need something good in season 2. And then do Muriel in the season. So you do 3 groups now, have another 3 groups in season 2. That way they're all given more screen time to actually build their characters. And maybe by the end of his season, Arondir will actually have developed a personality. And then in season 3, you build up to whatever the hell the conflict will be.
You know an angle they could have taken if they were smarter, and they wanted this split up cast with many different subplots?
Yeah.
They could have just done one episode dedicated to each one. Or
Yes.
one episode that dedicates itself to 2.
Yeah.
But this is switching between them on a constant rotation, and I can barely keep up with what's happening.
You need them together. One of the great things about The Lord of the Rings is that they had them all together, and you would have Aragorn talking to, what's the elf's name, Orlando Bloom's character. They would be going on, and stuff would be happening, and then it would just cut to the dwarf's face. You'd see the dwarf look, and the look he makes tells you about his character, and you learn about the dwarf's character and his beliefs and his feelings about what's going on in the scene because they're together. But when they're split off, and then you have to create and waste screen time just for what you could get out of a look if you put them in the right environment.
Yeah.
The Farazan has some possibilities of being more interesting down the line because he seems to have ulterior motives for going.
I suppose.
Like maybe
but
sort
so
of.
does Adar and Waldreg.
But it felt more.
And Muriel.
But it felt like Farazan was hiding it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, and that actor, to be fair, has a good, like, a unique face and screen presence. Like
I guess
he's got
not,
a unique.
not unique enough.
He looks like he would be like if he was clean shaven, he'd be on Succession.
What's the character's name?
Farazan.
Farazan.
With a
I'm looking at
PH?
these people. Oh, okay. I'm looking these people up as you're talking about them.
Tristan Gravel is the name of the actor. And like I like his look. And I'm granted I'm big on that. That's why I don't like Galadriel because she looks bored all the time. Bored and annoyed all the time.
It was slightly better in this episode, but then they ruined it with the sword fighting scene.
It was you guys. If you want to see something like, it'll probably be on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It'll probably be on YouTube soon. It'll just put Galadriel, girl boss sword fighting scene.
I genuinely liked her with Halbrand, though.
Yes.
That's one relationship in this show that could make sense.
If they took her interactions with all the other characters away and just focused on their, if it was just them traveling the country and it was them kind of coming across different situations together and how they interacted and figured that out, that might be interesting. But it's like it feels like it's the director's job, right, to figure out which actors have the best chemistry and lean into that story the best they can, if not in pre-production and filming, then in editing.
Or the producer's job, because the director can really only do what he can with the script.
Well, what I'm saying is because actually I don't know how they're doing it here, but a lot of times directors are involved in the editing process, right? So what you need to do is find the actors that actually have good chemistry. That's they should be looking at the scenes Nori's doing with the stranger and the scenes with or even Sadak Burrows, and they find that these characters have great screen presence and lean into it and start saying, We're getting good material here. We can cut some of this extraneous garbage with Isildur, and the girl that has zero chemistry with him. Cut those and lean into the characters that are giving you the best performances, but they're not doing that.
Yeah, you can kill off characters that aren't working. You're supposed to if you want a good show. I think that's
also. I really want to point out that I think Elrond's does well because that actor really does has an extremely unique look.
He does have a unique face.
His
it's
face
not one I like, but it's unique.
But it's extremely unique. So I
but
like.
The problem
him.
is that's why he got the role, not because he's good.
But I actually think I like him. I like him and Durin
right.
in the show.
I've only seen clips, but it was like yawn, yawn, yawn. Every clip I saw him was like, I'm supposed to have no emotion because I am an elf.
I'm being like I'm like a prisoner of war who is just like putting up.
Thank you for the scraps.
Yeah. I'm taking the best. It's the best I can get here is Durin and Elrond, and then the little bit of Galadriel. Only when.
Okay, can we address? I don't want to say all of the line because I'll get clipped for out of context.
Get clipped Morgan. For out of context.
I can't say this out of context. Enough with the quail sauce. That line, if you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. Durin said something very clippable, okay?
You should say it anyways.
Something about meat, something about
sauce.
Giving it to
something
him.
About sauce, something about giving it to him, something about it being raw.
And this is why actors are paid the big bucks, because he managed to say that line without laughing.
Why did they include it, though? Like, do you want this to have the high fantasy poetic vibe, or are you trying to make it clippable for Twitter?
Clippable for Twitter.
Yeah.
They need at least one. Make the thing go viral. I haven't been even thinking about this show for weeks.
Well, to be fair, we were crapping on the ratings for House of the Dragon the other day, but this show is a bomb. As far as I can tell, there's no hype around it anymore. Nobody's talking about it. The only thing I see people talking about is House of the Dragon.
And they've got 3 episodes left, and nothing has happened.
And nothing's happened. It's literally been hurry up and wait the whole time. Mm-hmm. I have my conspiracy theory, which I will now push every time we talk about the show. I believe that Jeff Bezos did not set out to make a good show. I think that he wanted them to literally create a show that was so mediocre that you'll put it on, you won't turn it off, but you'll stop paying attention and start buying stuff off Amazon Prime while you're watching.
You've got to introduce a character early on that you fall in love with that you kill off within 3 to 5 episodes. I think for a fantasy show to go well, you've got to take away something that people love to make them remember it.
Yeah, and that seems to be the angle they were going for with killing off Galadriel's
brother.
brother in the pilot,
With
but
all
we
of the-
never knew Galadriel's brother.
You got
it was
all
just
of 2 minutes of time with him.
we showed up and Galadriel's brother was dead.
So then now she's this kind of closed off, emotionless warrior,
Yeah.
but you don't really have any connection as to why she is like
And
that.
neither
You
does
weren't
she.
endeared to either one of
Yeah.
them.
And she didn't
before
act with
it
the guy,
happened.
so she doesn't have any connection to the guy. Like, honestly, as an actor, if you work with someone a lot for 10, 12 months or whatever, and then they're gone off the show, it's sad. And you
Yeah.
remember them when you're acting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it feels like there's, I don't know if it's the direction, if it's the fact that they hired two showrunners that had literally no experience, if it's the unreachable expectations that would never have been met anyways, given the size
Yeah.
of the budget, the name that is Tolkien, and how much that means to so much of society. But there was, I think the show was doomed from the start, but we have been more than fair to most of
Yeah.
these episodes, but I'm about
We're
done.
spent.
I'm about done. I'm ready for them to get to whatever the great battle is. What the hell are the rings?
Yeah, where are the rings?
Where are the rings? There's
and
no
where's
rings.
the power?
There's no power. There's no rings.
What a ripoff.
And even if there was, you did not tell the story concisely enough and properly enough for it to stick well enough in our head to matter.
Yeah.
This is on you, not on the audience.
Yeah, and we didn't even set out to dunk on them for
No.
wokeness or the marketing campaign, which was a mess either.
We have done
We've been
nothing
fair
about
and,
wokeness.
And our patience has run thin.
Very
We are
thin.
done.
Okay, you know what? I will forgive you if you cut it all off and you give me a Nori spinoff and a Bronwyn spinoff where Bronwyn does anything but shout from the high heavens for people to follow her. Turn it into a rom-com.
If she actually raised her voice, it would also make her more believable as a mom.
Yeah.
And she
Get in
just,
here and do your chores now.
she just is so mousy.
It's
We've already spent too long talking
All
about
right.
this, and I'm losing my mind.
Let's move on. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.